That morning broke like any other, or so it seemed. The hum of quiet inside our house, blurred by the distant rustle of leaves, suddenly shattered. A sharp gasp, urgent, desperate, pierced the calm. Then came a child's laughter, twisting into something darker. Sunlight streamed through the blinds, casting long shadows that danced over a perfect-looking home. But how many stories hide behind these closed doors? What secrets lurk beneath the illusion of strength and control? When did silence become complicity? When did pain become invisible? For Audrey, that day wasn't just a moment. It was a rupture, a fracture in everything she believed about her world, her family, herself. It ignited a fierce quest for justice, one that would shake her foundations, challenge her resilience, and force her to confront the scars no one dared to see. It wasn't about who was right or wrong, but about facing truths buried deep beneath layers of silence. Each step toward healing meant unearthing the darkness, pain that many families keep locked away. And for Audrey, the path to truth would demand every ounce of her courage, vulnerability, and unwavering resolve. Because sometimes the most ordinary mornings hide the most extraordinary stories, stories that refuse to stay hidden forever. A dusty box sat untouched in the corner of the dimly lit room, its surface dull and cracked. Audrey's hands trembled as she gently brushed away a layer of dust, revealing worn photographs, faded letters, and keepsakes she hadn't seen in years. The air smelled damp, the scent of rain lingering just outside, mixed with a strange undercurrent of something darker. Every creak of the house felt like a whisper from the past, echoing through her nervous system. Her eyes fell on a battered photograph, Ethan Harris's confident, smug grin staring back, but behind his eyes, something unreadable. What was he hiding? Her heart pounded so loudly she was sure it would drown out the quiet outside. She hesitated, voice barely a whisper. What really happened all those years ago? Her words hung in the heavy silence, trembling on the edge of revelation. She knew once she uncovered it, everything would change. The truth would come crashing down, unforgiving and raw. Would she finally find justice, or be swallowed whole by the shadows of her past? The kitchen's quiet hum suddenly shatters, the sharp scent of bleach, cigarette smoke curling in the air, drawing her back, dragging her into a memory she'd rather forget. She sees her father's rough hands clenched tight, hears the cold scrape of metal against her skin as he shouts, his voice echoing commands she's long tried to silence. The chair squeaks on linoleum, sweat dampening her hair sticks to her neck, and everything feels constricting, suffocating. Her pulse quickens. She's trembling, caught between a childhood filled with silence and rage, desperate to escape the chaos that still scars her soul. Why do some memories cling so fiercely? Why do they hit harder when least expected? Her mind flashes to her younger self, trembling, a silent scream trapped behind tears. It was never just about the pain. It was the betrayal, the silence her family thought made her strong. But inside, she's burning with questions, hopes that might finally find answers. Could she finally break free from these shadows? Could healing come from confronting what haunted her? The scent of rain filters through the window, fresh, cleansing, promising renewal. But the weight of those ghosts doesn't just fade. It waits in the silence, in the unspoken truths buried deep. She wonders, what's it going to take to truly heal? To find peace amid the chaos? Time whispers promises, but pain, real, raw, remains, asking her, are you ready to face it? The porch light flickered once more, casting jagged shadows across the porch. Audrey paused, her hand trembling slightly on the doorknob. Inside, muffled voices. A faint shuffle of footsteps. Familiar, yet strained. The air thickened with unspoken tension, weighed down by memories she'd long buried. Her heart hammered in her chest. Could she step inside and confront what lurked behind that door? Or would she turn away, letting it swallow her whole before even trying. Every nerve was on edge, senses sharp. The scent of rain still hung in the air, something cleansing, yet ominous. A sudden crash echoed, shattering the silence like glass. The room fell suddenly quiet, suffocating. Just one decision remains. Will she face the truth waiting in that silence? Or walk away, forever wondering what's buried beneath? That moment hangs heavy, balancing between courage and fear. Every step forward could change everything, or destroy her. The question lingers. Is she ready to find out? The scent of stale sweat and burnt coffee hangs heavy in the dimly lit kitchen. Outside, the faint hum of sirens drifts in through cracked windows. Young Audrey sits on the linoleum floor, knees pulled tight to her chest, trembling. Her father's voice echoes from the other room, sharp, muffled, laced with frustration. The metallic clang of dishes and raised voices cut through the silence, creating a chaotic soundtrack. A flickering neon sign outside casts eerie shadows, flickering in time with her racing heart. Her tear-streaked face is silent. No sobs, no scream, just numb. That moment, etched deep, whispers betrayal, neglect, pain. It's the kind of silence that screams louder than words. She wonders, how did I become invisible in my own home? Her tiny fists shake as she clings to memories she wishes she could forget. But every scar, every moment of abandonment, fuels a burning resolve within her. She's no longer just surviving. She's fighting, determined to break free, to heal, to claim her justice. The summer sun dips low, casting long shadows across the backyard. Audrey stands quietly, palms sweaty, eyes fixed on Ethan Harris's smirk. He's just finished bragging about some trophy car, flexing his muscles, dismissing everyone else's feelings with a cruel laugh. Then, suddenly he turns, calling her out in front of everyone. Teasing, humiliating, the old pattern repeating. She clenches her fists, heart pounding like a drum in her chest. Just as she steps forward, her voice sharp and steady, she catches a flicker of movement behind him. She freezes. Behind Ethan Harris, a figure, faint yet unmistakable. It's her dad. His face, usually carved in stoic silence, softens as their eyes meet. For a second, the weight of decades lifts. Her mind flashes to all the moments buried beneath his stern exterior. Regret, guilt, a reservoir of grief she never understood. In that instant, the lens shifts. The man she resented as her oppressor is revealed as a man weighed down by his own unspoken pain. Her breath catches. The family story isn't just about betrayal and neglect. It's layered with silent suffering, hiding beneath the tough veneer. Understanding blooms, crushing yet freeing. Her world-view cracks open just enough to see that perhaps, even in the deepest shadows, there's a flicker of hope for healing. The house was quiet, but the memory was loud, louder than I could bear. I was only 12, stuck on that cold kitchen floor, knees pulled tight to my chest. The smell of burnt toast mingled with stale coffee, choking the air like a reminder of how broken everything felt. My father's heavy hands gripped my shoulders, firm but trembling, as if he was trying to hold back something he couldn't quite control. His voice was tight, almost angry, but I could hear the sadness beneath it. Outside, the distant clatter of military boots echoed from an old TV, echoing his stern silence. Rigid, unyielding. That night, the chaos wasn't just in the sounds or smells. It was in the silence, the kind that screams inside you. The harsh words, the ignored tears, the feeling of abandonment that sank deep. I remember curling up there, wondering, how did I become invisible? How did the person supposed to protect me become the one I feared? Every touch, every word felt like a wound. That moment etched itself into me, haunting, shaping who I was to become. And yet, through all that darkness, a flicker of something stubborn grew. Resilience, the kind you don't see at first until it's clawing its way out. I didn't know back then that feeling, that ache, would someday turn into my fight, my voice, my truth. But it did, because in the midst of betrayals and wounds, I learned that even the deepest scars can hide a spark of hope, and I refused to let that spark die. Now I stand here, older, rebuilding what was broken. The past is a ghost, but not the whole story. It's just the beginning. The sun blazes overhead, relentless, pressing down with that heavy summer weight. I stretch by the pool, fingertips grazing the rough texture of the deck, each tiny groove a reminder of the years I've fought to stay resilient. A whiff of grilled meat mingles with the faint scent of burnt toast, a familiar comfort tainted by the growing tension fluttering in my chest. Then it happens. My foot slips. Not just a stumble, but a violent, uncontrolled slide, as if the universe decided to throw me off balance for good. I try to catch myself, arms flailing, but everything feels off. Deliberate, like whoever designed this moment wanted it to break me. My other foot jerks out, and suddenly I'm falling backward, out of control. Time dilates. I see Ethan Harris's cruel grin, sharp and mocking, his friends watching with eager anticipation. I notice my dad, turning abruptly from the grill, a muscle-bound figure embodying toughness, his face unreadable. My mom's voice hangs frozen in the air, paused mid-sentence. And then, the impact. Not on the grass or the deck, but against the cold concrete edge of the pool. My lower back and skull collide simultaneously, the two shocks melding into one relentless pain, exploding behind my eyes like fireworks bursting in slow motion. Someone screams. Only later do I realize it's me. The world tilts. Colors blend and twist, swirling into chaos as I hit the ground. Lying there, the blue sky blurring in and out of focus, I grip the harsh reality. I can't feel my legs, my breath. The porch was cold tonight, shadows stretching long across the porch floor. Audrey's trembling hands clutched her side, blood seeping through her fingers unseen. The flickering light cast distortions over her strained face, every ragged breath echoing through the silence. In the distance, faintly, her mother's cry, half desperate, half lost, to the night. Ethan Harris's footsteps retreat, muffled and cruel, swallowed by darkness. It's just her now, alone with this crushing absence of support. Will she find the strength to scream, or will the night swallow her whole? The air thickens, the weight of betrayal, pain, and unanswered cries hanging heavy. Every second feels like a choice. Summon her voice and face what comes, or let the silence drown her. The question hangs, ominous and unspoken. What happens when the darkness isn't just outside, but inside her too? I think I am going to be sick, I moaned, turning my head to the side. She is probably drunk, I heard Ethan Harris tell someone. Classic Audrey cannot handle her alcohol. I had not had a single drink all day, but facts had never mattered in my family's narrative about me. The sun beating down on my face was making the nausea worse. I was sweating profusely and a strange tingling sensation had started in my fingertips. I knew these were bad signs, possibly indicators of shock or internal bleeding. "Please," I whispered, no longer having the energy to shout. "I need help." My father had walked away, returning to the grill as if nothing was happening. My mother was making excuses to the guests, telling them I had always been prone to episodes and that they should continue enjoying the party. Ethan Harris had lost interest entirely, moving back to his group of friends who were now loudly discussing plans to take the new jet ski out the following weekend. I was alone, immobile in agony, surrounded by people who were choosing to ignore my suffering. The betrayal cut deeper than any physical pain ever could. Then, from the edge of my fading consciousness, I heard a new voice. Firm, authoritative, female. "Excuse me, I am a nurse. Let me through, please." The crowd parted and a woman I did not recognize knelt beside me. She had kind eyes and capable hands that immediately went to my wrist, checking my pulse. "Hi there, I am Rachel. I work in the ER at Massachusetts General. Can you tell me your name?" "Audrey," I managed to say through chattering teeth. I was cold now despite the summer heat. Okay, Audrey, I need you to stay very still. Can you tell me what happened? I explained about the fall, the impact with the pool edge, and the immediate loss of sensation in my legs. Rachel's expression remained neutral, but I could see concern in her eyes. She leaned closer and spoke quietly. I am going to check a few things, but I do not want you to move at all. Okay. The scent of cold metal tickled her nostrils, sharp antiseptic, faintly metallic, like tears on steel. Her senses blurred, caught between the sterile brightness of the hospital room and the distant hum of machines. She remembered her father's face, the stoic, unyielding mask he'd worn all her life, and wondered if he even saw her anymore. The trembling of her breath echoed in her ears, fragile and desperate, like the flutter of a trapped bird. Hope flickered, dim but persistent, that maybe, just maybe, things could shift. Could healing come from chaos? Could justice emerge from betrayal? Even amid the pain, a spark of resilience ignited. A stubborn promise to herself whispered, "You're not finished yet." Moments like these, charged with agony and quiet defiance, felt like shattered glass, cutting deep, but also revealing a strength she never knew she had. Because when everything feels lost, sometimes all it takes is a single spark to set your soul ablaze again. A faint memory flickers, blurry, like a dream slipping through my fingers. It's summer again, that golden hour when everything feels safe. I'm at my childhood home, the scent of baked bread lingering in the air, warm enough to melt the worry from my shoulders. I remember Dad's rough hands guiding mine on a fishing line, calloused and strong, yet gentle in that rare moment. Laughter echoes from the porch, a carefree chorus that hides secrets I didn't know then. But that illusion shattered in an instant. The summer heat suddenly turns cold. The betrayal hits me like a punch. It's not just the fall into the pool or the way my body's gone numb. No, it's the realization that the safety I thought was real was just a fragile mask. Family secrets buried deep under the surface, waiting to explode. That scar in my chest isn't the worst. It's the betrayal that carved itself deeper, haunting, unspoken, and still, somehow, I stand here, fighting to find my truth amid the ruins. Because sometimes, even when everything's broken, it's the flicker of hope that keeps you going. And maybe, just maybe, healing can start with the truth. A hush fell over the backyard as Audrey's hands trembled, smoothing her clothes yet betraying her nerves. Her fingers lingered on her hair, almost seeking reassurance in a world that spun too fast. She looked over at Rachel, voice tinged with quiet doubt. Do you really think this is necessary? Maybe we could just take her to urgent care ourselves. Rachel's voice was steady, unwavering. Absolutely not. She needs proper immobilization and transport. Any movement that isn't careful could make things worse. Meanwhile, her father had already moved to the front yard, directing paramedics with a calm command that belied the chaos unfurling behind him. Ethan Harris stood several feet back, frozen in place, his expression vacant, until finally the weight of what he'd done seemed to settle into his eyes. Within moments, the paramedics arrived, a tight team in uniforms wheels flickering under the sun. 2 women and a man, swift and precise, moved with practiced ease. Rachel reacted instantly, briefing them on every detail. The lead, a paramedic named Sarah, her tone professional yet gentle, knelt beside Audrey, breaking through the stiff silence. "Hi, Audrey. I'm Sarah. We're going to take good care of you." Her eyes were kind, yet her voice firm. "Can you tell me where it hurts the most?" Lower back. My head, too. But I can't feel anything below my waist," Audrey managed to whisper. Sarah nodded, a mask of calm covering her concern. "We'll put a cervical collar on your neck to keep you stable. Then, carefully, we'll log roll you onto a backboard. Just stay still, okay?" As they moved, Sarah kept asking questions, trying to piece together what happened. Then, a sharp pause. Was the surface you fell on slippery, or was there something on it? Rachel's voice cut in, almost in a whisper. There's oil, or some lubricant on the deck. It looks like it was placed there deliberately. Sarah froze, her eyes narrowing. Deliberately? Can you explain? Audrey's heart hammered. The truth was slipping out beneath the surface. A secret, a clue that could change everything. But who was really behind this? And what was the real story tucked under the surface? As the details threaten to unravel, Audrey braces herself, because she knows this is just the beginning, and somewhere in all of it, buried deep beneath betrayal and secrets, maybe, justice waits to be claimed. The moment hits like a punch to the gut, a quiet revelation that shatters the fragile trust hanging in the air. Her brother, Ethan Harris, had admitted it. Deck oil, slick and deliberate, spread as a prank. Her voice, steady yet tinged with a sharp undercurrent of anger, cuts through the heavy silence. Rachel's eyes stay calm, but her words simmer just below the surface, heavy with disappointment. Ethan Harris stands there, hands shoved deep in his pockets, eyes fixed on the chipped wood beneath his feet. Does he realize how far this went? How much it changed everything? "Sir, is that accurate?" Sarah's voice slices through the moment, sharp and clinical. "Did you intentionally create a hazard that caused this injury?" Ethan Harris shifts, guilt flickering in his eyes. "It was just a joke. I didn't think she'd get hurt." The air thickens with unspoken truths, quiet tension bouncing between glances. Sarah signals to her colleague, Mike. As he examines the deck, the oily residue glistening like a secret, Audrey's world spins. The sharp scent of rain on damp wood mingles with the metallic clangs of the ambulance, a grim symphony to the chaos. Despite the pain ripping through her, Audrey notices how carefully they work. A collar wraps around her neck, cold and unyielding. Movements practiced and precise, but she can't hold back the cry, pain spilling out as her body is moved, a raw wound exposed. Sarah's voice offers soothing, but her eyes tell a different story. Urgent, worried. "Pain meds are coming," she. The evening shadows stretch long over the porch, casting flickering silhouettes across Audrey's trembling hands. She's frozen there, staring at her father's back, so stiff, so unyielding. The silence. It's thick enough to cut with a knife. She can feel her heartbeat pounding, each beat a thunder in her chest. Her breath, shallow, nervous, almost labored. She's ready. She's grown enough to speak, to finally break the silence that's haunted her for years. But just as her voice closes itself in quiet resolve, a faint noise from the yard interrupts. Soft, urgent, like a whisper in the dark. Shadows dance and flicker. Secrets stir beneath the moonlight. Is it just the wind? Or something? Someone? Maybe it's her chance. Maybe her truth will finally surface in this moment. Or maybe the darkness will swallow her whole, hiding what lurks just beyond her line of sight. What's hiding out there? What's waiting in the shadows, just beyond her reach? The tension hums so loud you can almost hear it, each breath a gamble. Does she have the strength to confront it? Or will the night conceal it all forever? Only the shadows know. The scent of burning wood drifted through the air, sharp and smoky. I clutch the rusted railing, feeling the rough metal bite into my palms. Shadows flicker on the walls, dance of flames outside, casting long, threatening silhouettes. I hear a distant voice, stern, unwavering. "Toughen up, kid. Real strength is in silence." That voice echoes, heavy and relentless. The heat prickles my skin, but it's nothing compared to the sting inside, betrayal, neglect, the silence that pressed heavier than the flames. Shadows of childhood scars press into my bones, silent echoes of pain buried deep. Have I forever been haunted by this silence? Can wounds hidden behind resilient facades ever truly heal? As I stand there, trapped between what was and what must be, I realize this fire isn't just outside. It's inside me, burning through every quiet moment I've survived. In this moment, the question lingers: how do you find your way back from the ashes? And what costs will it take? The room is quiet except for the distant hum of a television, flickering shadows cast on the wall by a lamp. A faint rain scent lingers, cool, calming, but with an edge of something darker. Little Audrey sits on the sagging sofa, clutching her faded teddy bear, fingers tracing the cracks in a picture frame. Her gaze drifts between her father, Douglas, so stiff, so silent, and the doorway, where the echo of a voice still echoes in her mind. Her tiny chest feels tight, her heartbeat quickening, thudding like a warning. She's just a child, lost in a storm of confusion, betrayed not just by her family but by a silence that's always held her hostage. The air is heavy with cigarette smoke, old wood, unspoken words. Then, suddenly, a loud voice snaps her back, sharp as glass. Her breath catches. Her world flashes back. Pain, betrayal, all raw and real. That moment, that heartbreak, seems to pulse through her. The scars aren't just on her body anymore. They're buried deep in her mind, hidden beneath layers of resilience. And yet, here she is, fighting to heal, to find justice amid the shadows of her past. Can she break free from the chains that have haunted her so long? Or will those shadows swallow her whole? The question lingers. Only she can answer. The hardest part was always the waiting. My brother, with that sneaky grin, put oil on the deck when I wasn't looking. Said it was a joke. I remember the way the smooth liquid glistened under the late afternoon sun. I didn't see him do it. I just felt myself slipping, a sudden rush of panic as the world tilted. Dr. Martinez's voice comes back, steady but concerned, confirming what I already feared. The paramedics said I was lucky. Lucky I didn't hit my head harder. Lucky I wasn't worse. But the weight of that delay, the way my parents dismissed everything, keeps pressing down. They said I was overreacting, just trying to ruin Ethan Harris's party. I felt the old sting of betrayal. Again. Was this how they saw me? As fragile, as weak? The room swirls, bright lights, silent accusations. Tears I couldn't hold back trace down my face. Would calling the police change anything? Or am I just racing against shadows that refuse to let me go? My heart pounds. What happens next? Will I finally get justice, or remain trapped in the darkness? The silence hung heavy in the room, almost like a thick fog. Audrey's vision blurred as her eyes darted to her phone. There, flickering on the screen, was a deleted message from Ethan Harris. A confession. He knew exactly what he'd done. The words burned into her mind. I arranged it. I knew you'd fall. It was meant to hurt you. Her heartbeat quickened, each beat echoing like a drum in her chest. Suddenly, a voice, soft, cracked, pierced the silence. Her father. He had been there all along, quietly witnessing. He'd seen Ethan Harris pouring oil days ago. He'd seen everything but said nothing. The scene shatters. The betrayal, raw and open. What once looked like an accident was a calculated attack. Tears sting as the truth settles, heavy and undeniable. Audrey's resolve ignites, her fight for healing, for justice, suddenly clearer than ever. Will she rise from this, or drown in the shadows of family secrets? The choice is hers. The story not over yet. The sterile hum of fluorescent lights was drowned out by the pounding in my chest, each beat a reminder of the chaos unraveling inside me. Marcus's words hung in the air. Rehabilitation, recovery, loneliness. I looked out the window as the sky darkened, shadows creeping across the hospital wall, mirroring the questions that refused to be answered. Would I ever truly come back from this? Or was this new reality the final chapter I couldn't escape? Who was really watching me now, lurking in the shadows of my mind? After the accident, everything changed in an instant. The pain in my body was brutal, but it was the silence from my family that cut deepest. No calls, no visits. Were they even allowed? Or did they just want to pretend none of this was happening? I could feel the weight of their avoidance pressing down on me, heavier than my broken bones. That night, the hospital room felt haunted. Marcus, the social worker, explained I'd need months of rehab, maybe more. My apartment had stairs. How could I manage that? My job on my feet? How would I keep going? The world was shifting beneath my skin, and I was terrified I'd never find solid ground again. Yet, somewhere in the darkness, a flicker of defiance ignited. I survived my family's silence, their emotional neglect. I'd survived this, too, and this time, I'd make sure they couldn't hide behind their secrets anymore. The road ahead was uncertain, but I wasn't done fighting. Not yet. The sterile scent of hospital sheets clings to the air, mingled with a sharp tinge of antiseptic. Outside, rain taps lightly on the window, a soft whisper against the dull hum of machines. Somewhere deep inside, a faint echo, like a distant laughter, calls me back to childhood's sandbox, where I felt invincible, free. Now, I grip the cold metal bedrail, trembling. But it's not weakness. It's ache, betrayal, the weight of everything lost. Memories flicker, a brighter, simpler world, fragile as a film reel flipping in my mind. What do you do when everything shatters? When family turns into shadows casting doubt, and your body refuses command? I've been betrayed, not just by my brother Ethan, whose cruelty cut deeper than I expected, but by the silence of my father, Douglas, who was too stoic to hold me in his arms, and Ethan Harris with his dismissive sneer. What's hiding behind that bravado? What is real? This moment, this quiet storm inside, makes me wonder, will I find healing, or will I drown in unspoken truths? The path ahead is tangled, pain and justice intertwined. Strength isn't just physical anymore. It's standing up, even when everything feels lost. Because beneath that silence, there's a spark, a whisper that maybe, just maybe, I can rise. In the flickering shadows of her childhood home, Audrey's trembling hand finds something she's buried deep. An old family photo, tucked behind a loose wall panel. The dust stirs, the air thick with silence, then a whisper echoes. Her father's voice, faint but unmistakable, resurfaces from a long-forgotten argument. The words slip through the cracks of memory, revealing an ugly truth about Ethan Harris. His insecurities, masked behind a dismissive sneer, are more fragile than anyone realized. As Audrey pulls the photo free, a shiver crawls down her spine. Is this discovery her salvation, or her undoing? The past's ghostly whispers sharpen, filling the room with unspoken secrets. Her senses heighten, heart pounding, doubt creeping in. Maybe her quest for justice is built on fractured truths. Or is this her chance to finally free herself from years of betrayal? Inside this quiet storm, her resilience sparks, daring her to face what comes next. The sterile hum of the hospital faded into a distant echo as Audrey's trembling hands gripped the cold metal of the bedrail. Her eyes darted across the room, locking onto Ethan Harris's smirk, cruel, dismissive, like he was somehow proud of tearing her apart. The faint scent of disinfectant was sharp in her nose, every breath heavy with dread. Silence wrapped around them. No comforting voices, no reassuring footsteps, just the mechanical drone of machines and the soft rustle of the nurse's shuffle. Her heart pounded like thunder, echoing in her ears. She wondered, can anyone truly see her? Or is she just fighting a losing battle, drowning in shadows of betrayal? In the corner, the cracked blinds revealed a flicker. Was it a shadow slipping in? Her salvation or her doom? She hesitated, the weight of unspoken truths pressing down, her voice trembling. Is there anyone who truly sees me? Suddenly, a distant rustle outside the window, like rain whispering on glass, sends a shiver through her. The world outside continues unaware. Inside, hope teeters on the edge, fragile as a leaf caught in a storm. The storm inside her rages louder, hurt, anger, a flicker of resolve. Could this be the moment she finally breaks free? Or will everything crumble beneath the weight of secrets long buried? Her breath catches, the silence thick. Her story isn't over yet. Not quite. The room was cloaked in shadows, flickering with each hum of the dying light. Audrey stood, trembling, her voice trembling more as she finally confronted Ethan Harris, the man who had betrayed her years ago. The air thickened, heavy with unspoken pain. Ethan's dismissiveness cracked, trembling beneath a veneer of bravado. His eyes darted, revealing a fragility he'd never allowed himself before. The silence stretched, broken only by the distant whisper of rain against the window, like ghosts whispering secrets long buried. Out of Ethan's pocket, a crinkled family photo slipped, fluttering to her feet. She froze, eyes widening. There, in that faded image, her childhood smile shimmered back at her. It was a living mirror of her own trauma, stitched into the same fabric of family betrayal. The revelation hit like lightning. Her battle wasn't just against Ethan. It was against the roots of a broken legacy. And suddenly, every scar she'd fought so hard to hide felt like a beacon, guiding her toward truth, justice, and a long-overdue reckoning. The rain had that scent, earthy, electric, like something was about to change. Audrey stood at the window of her newly modified apartment, the hum of her walker quiet beneath the rustle of leaves outside. 8 months ago, she couldn't move. Now, each step, slow, strained, was a rebellion against everything she'd been told she couldn't be. Her parents had sold the house, liquidated their savings. $2 million placed in a trust fund for her care. It was generous, necessary, but it wasn't healing. Not really. She could walk now. Sort of. Specialized braces, a part-time caregiver, ramps and wide doorways. Her world had shifted, but the pain hadn't left. It just changed shape. The school district offered her a new role: curriculum specialist, remote work, occasional school visits. It was a lifeline. But the real work? That was happening in a quiet room with Claire, her therapist. Claire's voice was steady. "Audrey, what happened to you wasn't just physical." Audrey blinked. The words hung in the air. It was the result of years of emotional neglect. The paralysis in your legs is visible, but the wounds inside? They've been there much longer. Audrey felt it then, the weight of every moment Ethan Harris had dismissed her, every time Douglas Matthews, her father, had told her to toughen up, every time she'd swallowed her pain to keep the peace. The betrayal wasn't just in the accident. It was in the silence, the expectations, the legacy of emotional repression passed down like heirlooms. She looked at the photo again, her childhood home, her smile, faded but still there, and behind it, something else, a flicker, a truth she hadn't dared name. Was her father's legacy ever real, or was it just a mask, stoicism hiding fear, discipline masking shame? She placed the photo on the table. The air shifted. Ethan stood behind her, that same cruel grin. But this time, she didn't flinch. Her reflection in the window shimmered. Not just her face, something beneath. A medal, not of honor, of resilience. She hadn't just survived. She'd uncovered the lie. The house wasn't just sold, it was erased. A monument to a myth. And in its place, Audrey stood, scarred, changed, but finally seen. She whispered to herself, "I'm still here." And for the first time, she believed it. Audrey sits alone in a dimly lit room, her wheelchair casting long shadows on the walls. In her trembling hand, she clutches a crumpled letter, its torn edges whispering secrets she's avoided for years. The scent of rain drifts in through the window, mingling with the silent weight of her past. She pauses, heart pounding like thunder. Will this fragile piece of paper finally shatter her resolve, or ignite a spark of strength she's fought to find. The sunset's glow fades into darkness, and in that quiet moment, her eyes flicker. Anger, hope, a flickering flame of defiance. What will she choose? To drown in echoes of betrayal, or to step into the unknown and claim her truth? The room seems to hold its breath. The answer hangs in the air, waiting. Her story isn't just about the scars. It's about the quiet wars fought in shadows, familiars hiding behind masks of strength, secrets buried deep beneath layers of silence. Audrey's journey is a maze of pain and resilience. She's faced betrayal from those who should have protected her, Ethan Harris's cruel dismissals, her father Douglas's stoic silence, while navigating her own fragile body and battered spirit. Every step forward feels like crossing a battlefield. Yet, somewhere within that storm, she's discovering a flicker of something more. Her own voice. Her own rising hope. The kind of hope that can't be silenced anymore. And then, that letter. 3 unread days on her kitchen table. The handwriting. Rough, honest, vulnerable. An apology from her brother Ethan, written from a place she thought was unreachable. Prison. He admits his mistakes. Confronts his own monsters. For the first time, she senses a crack in the facade of cruelty and insecurity, an opening for something real. Could forgiveness be possible? Or is this just another chapter in her long fight to reclaim her story? As Audrey hesitates, the night deepens. The unknown looms, but for the first time in her life, she's thinking. Maybe, just maybe, she can choose her own ending. Rain taps steadily on the window, a soft, relentless drum that echoes her racing thoughts. Audrey stands there, eyeing the torn letter clenched in her trembling fist, her face a portrait of fragile resilience. The scent of wet pavement mingles with the faint aroma of coffee, swirling in the quiet of her cluttered living room. Outside, the distant thunder rumbles like an unanswered question. Her gaze flickers. Anger, doubt, a flickering hope. She glances at the phone, still silent, then at the doorway where Ethan Harris's shadow looms. Heavy, dismissive, unspoken accusations thick in the air. A deep breath. The ring. A sudden jolt. Her heart pounds. Hope flickering like candle flame in a storm. Will she muster the courage to face her ghosts? Or will the call shatter the fragile peace she's fought so hard for? The screen flickers. Only one word. Meet? Audrey's story isn't just about scars. It's about the silent wars within. Betrayal from those who should have protected her. The stoic silence of a father fighting his own secrets. A toxic brother whose cruelty shaped her past. Every step feels like crossing a battlefield, yet within her, a spark of defiance ignites, her voice rising above the noise. And now, the letter from Ethan, her brother, lay on her kitchen table. 3 days unread, its rough handwriting honest and raw. Apologies, admissions, the raw vulnerability she never imagined possible from him. Could she forgive? Or is this just another chapter in her ongoing fight? As the night deepens, silence presses in, thick and heavy. Yet, for the first time, Audrey considers that maybe, just maybe, she gets to decide her ending. The unknown stretches before her, vast and veilable, shimmering with uncertainty. But her gaze isn't fearful anymore. It's fierce, ready to face whatever's next. Rain taps steadily on the window, a soft drum that echoes her racing thoughts. Audrey stands there, gripping her crutches, her breath shallow, a fragile heartbeat in the quiet. The doors just slightly open, shadows flickering across the peeling walls like ghosts from her past. Behind that thin barrier, she feels someone lurking. Could be Ethan Harris, with his dismissive smirk, or her father's stoic stare, frozen in time. Her hand trembles, torn letter clenched tight, a symbol of everything she's fought to escape. Heart pounding, she leans forward. Will she confront the ghosts tonight? Or will the secrets hiding just beyond that door swallow her whole, before she gets the chance to find out? Outside, rain presses against the glass, masking her breathless silence. The scent of wet pavement mingles with a faint hint of hope. Or is it dread? Her eyes flicker. Anger, doubt, maybe a spark of resilience. She glances at her phone, silent. The air thickens, heavy with unspoken fears. Then a faint ring. Quick, sharp. It interrupts the quiet, hope flickering like candlelight in a storm. Her pulse quickens. Will she muster the courage? Or will she let the darkness swallow her? The screen flickers. One word. Meet? Her story isn't just scars. It's betrayal from those who should have protected her. It's the silence of a father fighting his own secrets, and a toxic brother whose cruelty still echoes. Every step feels like crossing a battlefield. And yet, within her, a fierce spark ignites, her voice rising beyond the chaos. There's a letter from Ethan, her brother. 3 days unopened. Raw, honest words, apologies, confessions, vulnerability she never thought he'd show. Could she forgive? Or is this just another chapter in her ongoing fight? As darkness presses in deeper, silence feels suffocating. But for the first time, Audrey considers. Maybe she gets to choose her ending. The unknown stretches vast and uncertain, shimmering with possibility and doubt. But her gaze isn't tired anymore. It's fierce, ready to face whatever's next. The quiet hum of life in Florida masks the chaos that once defined me. My parents, still there, living separate lives, rarely reach out directly. News drifts in from distant relatives, glossed over, sanitized. They paint a picture of devoted parents supporting their daughter through tragedy. But I know better. I've caught on to their script, one crafted to shield their image, to hide the cracks. Their narrative no longer controls me. I've learned something even more profound. My truth doesn't need their applause to matter. My pain isn't theirs to validate. It's mine to own. For someone raised in doubts, questioning my own experience was my first act of rebellion. That realization, it changed everything. Family isn't about blood or what's written on a birth certificate. It's who shows up when you're raw, when vulnerability makes you fragile. It's who stays when it's easier to walk away, who looks at your scars and sees strength. My chosen family, they've shown me what real support feels like. Sarah, the paramedic who recognized my injury when no one else did. Rachel, the nurse who fought for me when I couldn't. David, my physical therapist pushing beyond limits I never believed I had. Claire, guiding me through the storm of trauma with patience. And Thomas, who loves me for all I am, scars and all. They've shown me what genuine connection looks like, being believed, supported, valued for who I truly am. No masks, no pretenses, just authentic love. 2 years ago, I started a journey, earned my master's in educational psychology, specializing in trauma-informed teaching. Today, I stand here, no longer defined by pain or betrayal, but by resilience and hope. And maybe, just maybe, that's the real healing. Late in that dimly lit room, I stand face to face with Ethan Harris. His eyes are cold, dismissive. His words slice through the silence like broken glass. I feel that old wound opening again, betrayal echoing in every breath. But then I reach into my bag. Slowly, I pull out a photograph, crinkled, faded. I hold it up, trembling. It's my father, Douglas Matthews, young and unburdened, smiling in a field of wildflowers like he's finally free. I ask, "Did you know he used to smile before everything was hidden?" The shadows deepen, swallowing the space. His silence wasn't always strength. Sometimes it was protection, I say, voice barely a whisper. Ethan's face twists. Confusion, discomfort. This truth shifts the room, rewriting everything I thought I knew. It wasn't just about him hiding a family secret. It was about legacy, passed down, not inflicted. The pain that has haunted me, maybe, was his way of shielding me from generations of shame. And in that pause, I find my strength. Not just healing, but understanding what lies beneath the silence. Sometimes it's protection more than repression. In the quiet dawn, Audrey stands alone, surrounded by the echoes of a past she's fought to forget. Her wheelchair, battered but unbowed, sits beside her, a symbol of everything she's endured. Faded photographs flutter in the morning breeze, whispering stories of betrayal, loss, and resilience. Her fists clench, trembling, as tears carve silent paths down her face. For years, she's carried the weight of silence. Years of neglect, of words left unspoken, of wounds that never fully healed. Yet today, something shifts. The faint scent of rain fills the air, mingling with the rustle of leaves. The pain is raw but finally begins to loosen its grip. Slowly, she whispers her truth into the unfolding light, a declaration of survival, of hope. An unspoken weight lifts. Her posture straightens. For the first time in years, she feels it. Hope flickering, fragile but real. A journey from darkness to light has begun.